Hey.
Oh my gosh, it is a miracle that we finally have been able to talk.
I know, right? Good to see you.
It's really interesting. Like you were one of the very early artists to join the roster, and
Right.
wow, it's hard to believe so much time has passed, and we're just crazy busy.
I
This
I
art,
know.
I
Yeah.
can't believe. Well, being a student, an artist, and trying to get this art fair off the ground is it's a lot of work. I just like It's been overwhelming. Anyway,
Yeah, you
congrats on
you
your monograph.
thank you. Thanks a lot. Yeah, I mean you guys have accomplished a lot over the past year or so.
Yeah, but also my workload's pretty heavy because
Yeah.
I'm in the third year of my photography program, and
Okay.
yes, Jacqueline.
I
So
do. Yeah.
yeah,
Her husband had my position at Notre Dame before I got it.
yeah. So it's really fascinating, but yeah, she's a brilliant. She just won a semifinalist at the Prince Center annual.
Yeah, I saw that. I got the email about it, and I was in that last year, which was cool. They're a great organization.
Yeah, I've actually been there a long time ago when I lived in Philly. So they probably changed a lot since I moved out in 2004. But
Okay, yeah, yeah. Unfortunately, I've never gotten the chance to go there in person.
it's a lovely little space. But they may have expanded. I don't know. It's been quite tumultuous time.
Yeah,
But I'm in the gallery. This is it. We don't
awesome.
have, we have some linear feet. I could probably rotate my iMac a little, but that's what we have to work with. But your prints are not that big, so they're perfect for.
Yeah, right. And I print in a few different sizes. I think they work on a few different scales. So I'm flexible on that. I can make
Oh,
it work for the
and
space.
and actually, I'm going to give you like fast forward plans, but hopefully, we're going to try apply for spring break in
Great.
LA, and I would be very excited to include your work
I would love that. Yeah.
because but the thing is you might fly out to LA in February if you don't mind to hang out with us.
That would be great. That would be really cool.
It's very competitive. I'll tell you, the art world is a pecking order. So like we got a lot of rejections this year for fairs, but that's not surprising for an emerging gallery that no one really knows from Salt Lake. So but you start somewhere.
Absolutely.
And I'm very grateful. Anyway, I'm excited to have your work here. The good thing is, if we can time it to have the work here during the week after next, during fall break, then Bryce and I can hang up stuff,
Okay.
which will be
Y-
cool.
Yeah, I don't see that being
And
an issue.
and you know what? You can send us a few copies of the small prints, which are easy to mail. In fact, I'll give you the mailing address. You may already have it, but uh, yeah, I'll just type it in to chat.
Perfect.
And then yeah, that's yeah. Yeah, actually we had a lot of interesting drama with so we had an artist ship her work from New York to here.
Uh-huh.
It got shipped back to New York because the mailman didn't understand the address, and then she had to ship it back again.
Oh my God. That's
Yeah, but we
awful.
finally got it. So
Good.
hopefully you get a chance to visit out here. I know Jacqueline and Zach are out here. So
Yeah, no, that would be great. I've been wanting to make it out that way for a
yeah,
long
well,
time. I've never been to Utah.
yeah, I mean, it's very fascinating. It's scary. Actually, your work deals a lot with data collection, data mining.
Yep.
NSA main headquarters is in Bluffdale, which I photographed for one of my photo projects.
Ah, interesting. Yeah, and I know that.
You will be finding this a very interesting and scary place at the same time.
Right. No, it's fascinating. I mean, the yeah, nuclear tests, military bases, Facebook has a big data center out there too.
Oh yeah, I mean it's pretty crazy, and it's also now a flashpoint of contention because right now I've also been researching the alt-right and technology, and that's scary.
Yes.
Gab and Parlor. I don't know. Your work could head in that direction.
I
Analyze.
know.
And those guys are not dumb. They have a
Right.
lot of sharp people. It's funny because a lot of them are the postmodern alt right is pretty scary because it's just like the foil to us, in that sense.
hmm
But they have their own sets of critical theory and everything, and it's pretty scary. But
It is.
but I do try to learn about it because I mean, it's a very weird sense, this smoke and mirrors anti-intellectualism, especially with masking as a
Right.
political act, is quite interesting and scary. But yeah, we have a fairly modest area. The restaurant we don't have anymore, but we're done with our contractual thing there,
Okay.
which is fine. I mean, actually, we want to focus more on the project space aspect. And then art fairs are going to be like the big thing. I really
Sure.
feel like, especially because Salt Lake, let's put it this way. Our shows have gotten the attention of some art dealers that didn't think video art was a valid form of work. So Gallery Show won't list us because we had two art dealers that complained about our like media.
Wow.
Yeah, so Salt Lake is pretty scary in that respect, which I don't mind because honestly, you know what, we'll just keep curating our very broad, diverse roster. I mean, obviously we cover everything from Islamic calligraphy abstracts to like some Amy Trailer that does computer software as work of art, which that's pretty radical.
Yeah,
But
absolutely. No, I think it's great to have that range. Absolutely.
oh yeah, and then for art fairs, it makes it easy to showcase. Already, our New
Right.
Jersey thing, the fair director is excited about that variety. But the feminist praxis is pretty important in today's world, especially because we're sort of in this liminal space of post-Trumpism, but yet the residue is still there. Like
Right.
in Texas and stuff.
Yep.
But how is it out there where you're at?
It's Notre Dame is a interesting institution. It can feel pretty conservative sometimes and then surprisingly progressive at others. And
Yeah, well, it's just like yours at Utah, same thing.
right.
But I mean, Notre Dame's now famous because of the Amy Coney Barrett. Now it's
Right. Oh, and that whole thing was just so embarrassing with how
hey,
vocal the law school was about their support for her and the
yeah, but
university
don't worry,
president.
my alma mater, where I went to get my master's at Yale, we have our evil one, the Brett Kavanaugh.
Yes, right.
So you can't. I mean, it's not just simply like over at your area. So it's quite
Yep.
fascinating to see this polarity is more complicated than geography. Like,
Yeah, it is.
actually, it's really interesting. Like, there's people in Texas that absolutely are fighting what's going on, like all the interesting stuff. And in fact, one of our artists, she's in Texas teaching right now,
Mm,
Ariel. You may know Ariel Wilson. So she and your work, her photographic experimentation, your work would actually go well for potentially a group show.
yeah.
I'm gonna go attempt that risk in curating next year. This year, it's kind of like let's put our feelers, and plus going to the East Coast will be nice because this will be the first year that I will have visited LA and New York in the same year. And which is nice because New York's my hometown,
hmm
but I really like LA a lot. And the good thing I'm very excited is even during my MFA program, we'll still be coordinating pop-up shows and stuff, and creatively try to do stuff. The only
Great.
problem is I won't be able to do so much while stuck in an MFA. Like art fair, I won't like in undergrad. You can have a lot more latitude, but MFA is like very brutal. So
Yeah,
I
it
won't
just
be able
takes
to
over
take
your
like
life.
2 weeks off to do fun. Like this is fun stuff, even though it's hard.
Sure.
It's just I'm just really excited. But I got 2 years left in my undergrad, so
Right.
be doing a lot, and things are going pretty well. We got our first newspaper coverage in New Jersey, so that was good.
Awesome.
And, yeah. Any questions apart from the fact that I gave you the mailing address or any?
Well, yeah, just, it's good to know that, the print size, seems like,
Yes.
I've got some flexibility for that. And so roughly like that, painting that's hanging behind you, roughly how large is that? Do you
That's
think?
actually 18 by 24.
Oh, perfect. Okay, great.
Before you send, or actually while you send it, I do need JPEGs and info and artist.
Yep. Cool.
It may not be work that's associated with viewing distance, just so you know. It could be
Okay.
new work. So I even if it's I already have the JPEGs, it doesn't hurt to have higher res JPEGs too.
Sure. Yep. That sounds
Because
good.
the website, but definitely I don't know if this is going to be new work or just work that's connected to the monograph.
Yeah, it'll be work from viewing distance, since it's
Oh, fabulous. That'll be
it
fun.
was it's kind of interesting because a lot of the work that ended up in the book was made while I knew the book was going to be published. It was kind of a weird,
Yeah.
timeline how that all worked out. So the work in the book is pretty recent. I made a lot of it throughout 2020, and haven't really figured out what I'm going to do next. I'm thinking about a few things, but it's been good to get some of these prints from the book out into shows recently. So
Oh yeah, I'm very excited. Especially we've been waiting to do this show for so long.
right.
In fact, yeah, we're waiting because with Claire and Becca, we have to push their shows because we don't have the big space. Which
Right.
but we still have art over there anyways. But it's just I'm really excited because this project space is where I wanted, because I want an office space gallery as a real gallery to mirror that aspect. But I think the art fairs is going to be a good arena to showcase larger versions of the work or get new work for next year.
Right.
It would be nice. But we have to apply. I have to do we have to wait for what the theme is too. And then I'll be conveying that. Hopefully it'll be very open-ended. It was very open-ended on this one, actually, because the New York edition was heresy and heretics. So that could be open to anything. So I mean, anything that looked blasphemous or visually like antithetical or self-polarizing would be in that category. So for me, like I'm really super excited. But as a curator, I can make just about anything usually work.
Right.
So I'm pretty excited. And then obviously I'm waiting for the 2 copies of Monograph, and then
Yep.
that will go with Abby's book. It might.
Yeah.
Okay.
I've been in touch with Abby recently. I had her show some work at Notre Dame at the beginning of this semester, and it was great to see some of her prints in person and have it along with the book.
Yeah, I own a few of her work. I traded some of my work.
Oh, great.
Yeah, she has a bunch of my tapestries and then the maquette sculpture.
Cool.
Yeah, actually, I have to admit, your work has been influential on my work in a very oblique way. So, my honors thesis I'm working on is on the Capitol insurrectionists. So I actually managed to comb through all the FBI photos and reconstruct 3D busts. You probably saw a few of them on Instagram.
Yes. Yeah. Oh, that's awesome, though. Yeah.
Yeah, but it was your work of working with FBI photos. Except it's a bitch to actually spend all that time to 3D model, because FBI photos are not high res.
No, that's the crazy thing about it. Yeah.
So I'm sitting there trying to figure how am I going to model these faces, and I have to remove their apparel because I'm making these, I'm bitterly attacking neoclassicism by my parroting the style.
Right.
And neoclassicism and fascism are very well connected. I've been reading so much books. I've 80 books checked out from the library and more. But it's just really fascinating, but it's also a scary journey because
Right.
one of my ex-friends, he's under federal indictment for his participation. And
That's crazy.
it is crazy, but he's a visual artist as well. And he thought by bringing back Trump, it would revive his flagging art career. He was an anti-modernist. As funny as that may seem, there's actually a lot of like alt-right fascist philosophers that was very influential. So I actually got to learn a lot, which is really good. But that again, lots of dark humor.
Yes, right.
For sure. But yeah, I'm excited to have your work. However many you feel like. Also, you can actually send more work. Even if we don't hang as many, it's always good to have some in inventory.
Yeah, definitely. I'll plan on sending probably more than you need for the walls.
Yeah, and the most important thing is the art fair is going to bring us the first major international attention. And with other artists on the roster, like some people might be interested in purchasing from artists not who weren't part of the fair, because we have like 40 artists basically. So
yeah,
and not everyone has inventory at the moment, or like Amy Trailer, like she produces very few works. And then actually, to be honest, I was like crossing fingers that you would be applying for the Whitney ISP, but I don't know. You might be too busy for that.
Yeah, I thought about it quite a few years ago. And yeah, just kind of never did it just for, the financial commitment,
Well, it's also a time commitment too. Like,
yeah.
you have to be in New York. Like there's no zooming into New York for a full year.
Exactly.
But it's really interesting. There's so many opportunities. And then obviously art fairs are coming back, and things are a little bit different, which I like. I feel like how should I put it? I feel like there's things are going to be a little bit more affordable, because I think post-pandemic, I think a lot of art organizations are realizing that they want to make sustainable art organizations, and helping small galleries, stay and stick around is very important.
Right.
And even after my MFA, I'll still have roots here in Salt Lake, so keeping the gallery around in Salt Lake will be good. We're still looking potentially for additional space, like in a bigger city. But right now, we're also looking for like a gallery director, now that we've come to a critical mass where, it's just the logistics of the operation is just very time consuming. And, I can only do so much as a curator business wise.
Right.
So I like to eventually get someone who can devote pretty much full time or heavy part time to directing this, even if it's not. I mean, we're not going to ever be like a huge operation, but the good thing is we want something that will help grow, our ability to have, more shows, more fair opportunities, and just hopefully some museum proposals that would go through. And that's hard, just so you know, because building museum connections is like,
I know. I know that's one thing that does seem kind of out of reach a lot.
Yeah, like what about around where you're at? Like you're close to Indianapolis, right? Or
yeah, about an hour and a half from Chicago, 2.5 hours from Indianapolis. And we've got about an hour and a half away is the Fort Wayne Museum, which is actually a pretty good regional museum. And we've got a smaller museum here in South Bend as well. But yeah, it's interesting how those things come about, the connections you have to make.
Yeah, and it's interesting because you're actually very close to Chicago, and Chicago's been kind of busy, and it'd be nice to break into Chicago, like for our art. Actually, we have some artists that went to School of Art Institute, but it's not easy,
Yeah,
there's a lot.
I mean, the one connection I did make is being a part of the Midwest Photographers Project at the Museum of Contemporary Photography.
Yes.
They've done a really great job supporting kind of regional, local artists.
Oh yeah. I mean, that's a blessing, but it's also hard because, but I think because I'm from New York, like I'm trying to build out, and depending on where my MFA lands me, that will help even build more connections. Surprisingly, I can actually be very productive in the art studio and still manage to curate. But this will be full time anyways after I graduate, because pretty soon I won't be in school anymore. And
Right.
even if I were teaching, that's still, I think, pretty exciting. But I don't know. I like the idea of teaching, but we'll see what will happen after. I mean, I
Yeah.
still.
Do you have any idea about where you might try to look?
You mean for MFA or?
Yeah.
Well, UCLA is definitely top notch. I was actually just in LA, like, and then Cal Arts is
Mhm.
like very cutting edge. I actually looked at some of the syllabi that my friend Patrick, whom I collaborate with. Yeah, that is so forward thinking. I'm just like, yeah. And in fact, it's really great. And CalArts is laid out really well. My friend Madison, she's in Yale sculpture right now. So, uh, we'll see. She's having a good time, I think. But I'll get to see her pretty soon. And then Columbia, obviously, RISD, and then School of Art Institute.
Mhm.
So it's pretty much I mean, when it comes to art schools, there aren't that many choices, I guess, in my, like, especially if you're trying to get into the New York and LA
Right. Right.
contemporary art scene. So it's just like it's pretty much evident there. I mean, everyone has a different, you know, but I think it'll be good because if I can enter into those very fairly large playing fields, that will help, in my curating for the space, because then I'll have the connections that I can build with the people in those areas that, it'd be great,
Yeah.
especially because my close collaborator Patrick lives in LA, and I really actually love LA. Oh my gosh, I just went to the Felix Art Fair. It was a great vibe. It's still weird drinking bottled water from a box, so I guess box water.
Yeah.
I even kept the box, like literally, and I drink all the water. But it was just really fascinating design, and very forward thinking, even if not everything's successful. But we'll see. I mean, it kind of depends on who accepts me. It's very
Sure.
competitive. Like art schools, especially at those tiers, are not, they're not easy to get into. And you know, with my friends, some of them, it took them more than one shot to get into, where they were at. But we'll see. Like anything else, it's a lot of it's not just simply only your art. It's about the cohort that's applying for that year. There's all sorts of externalities that are associated with that.
Yeah.
So we'll see. It's an
Yeah.
adventure. My life,
Yeah. Right.
my life has been boring. But yeah, I'm really awed by the fact that your monograph's coming out soon. That's like 2 monographs this year, and it's just crazy. And I actually ordered the monograph for the library here.
Oh,
I'm gonna,
awesome.
I'm gonna try
Great.
to bug them again to reorder again to make sure that they order it.
Great.
Now, Abby's monographs in the library at U of U.
And
So
she did her undergrad there too, right?
yeah, but you didn't do your undergrad and still
No.
check your monograph. I don't care if you didn't graduate from here. Your
Yeah, no, I
monograph
appreciate it.
is
Yeah.
important. But I have a lot of pull with the art book curator that does.
Great.
So, if I mention that, hey, like I mentioned this is a priority book, then they have never declined, honestly, except for like huge, super expensive stuff that I knew was very unlikely.
Right.
But your book, I think, yeah, I will submit it when it's for sure I get my own copies. Then I know it's here. I mean, how
Yep.
many pages is it? Do you know?
It's 100.
Oh, that's shorter than Abby's book, I think, isn't it?
Yeah, hers is like
Okay.
150.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but her cover was interesting. So I'm very curious to see how they do yours. Did you have to work with like a graphic designer on that cover?
Yeah, they have an in-house graphic designer. Her name is Ursula Dom, and she does all their book design
How
work for
was it?
every
Was it
release. It
hard?
was great. She was awesome. She made, offered like certain sequencing suggestions that I don't think I ever would have thought of, but worked, I think, really well. And it was great to have somebody to bounce ideas off of and collaborate with because, I was still pretty fresh off of making
Yeah.
the work when we were working on the book. So I was really open to things like sequencing and all the layout components. So her experience was definitely um, a great surprise. I didn't know what to expect.
Oh yeah, yeah. I saw Daylight, and they have a great selection of like all sorts of photography books that are just all over in terms of content, theme, and visual presentation.
Yep.
So, and yeah, I mean, Abby's book is still like I even bought it as a gift for my friend Patrick, and yeah, that turned out really well. Actually, I still need to order. I want to probably eventually get an extra copy, but it gets expensive.
It does. I
Getting,
know.
getting monographs as books, and then still being able to afford art supplies, and then the art fair is not exactly cheap either.
Yeah, it
I know
adds up.
this hotel bill might. Luckily, we're getting some school grants for helping to defray the costs, but it's still not easy during COVID to get funding. So
Yeah.
and COVID's still around. Like one of my professors, she got it last week because she went to a field trip to the lightning field, and then she got struck by COVID during the trip. So it really wasn't good.
Wow.
Yeah, I often say, well, she didn't get to see the lightning strike Demaria's installation, but she got struck by a different type of lightning.
Exactly. Yeah.
Not exactly the pleasant one. But
Yeah.
has COVID impacted much of where you're at, or not so much?
It's right now, anyway, it's pretty tightly under control at Notre Dame. They had a vaccine mandate for employees and students. So, like 98% of the campus community is fully vaccinated.
Oh, that's better than us. Jeez, I feel bad now. Hmm. Yeah, I'm not going to comment. We also probably have some secret anti-vaxxers on campus.
Yeah, I'm sure.
I don't hang out in those circles. So like I'm stuck. I'm actually like obsessed with cyanotype stuff lately. So I've been stuck in the photo lab
Awesome.
doing these cyanotype paintings because I found that you can actually do cyanotype on stretch canvas, which works out really well. It's just, and then actually with Laurel, I'm starting to do Van Dyke printing, which will be fun. So
Yeah, I'm probably going to be doing Van Dyke with my students later on in the semester.
oh,
So,
nice.
yeah,
Well, I'll be doing that pretty soon next week. So
cool.
I got to do all the negatives. Sadly enough, it's way more expensive to do that one than the cyanotypes. It's just very affordable.
Yeah, very, really simple, just, yeah, basic A and B solution. And
Yes,
yeah,
but very difficult to like really master. However, like I think I did a lot of printing because it's very, how should I put it, like variable,
yeah,
especially
it is.
with sunlight just shifting now towards, we're now in a colder season, shorter hours, and it's exciting. I'm loving these alternate processes, and especially because with my MFA application, I'm not just applying to only photography, but also painting and sculpture, and potentially like interdisciplinary programs. Cyanotype, that's the cool thing is cyanotype can be used for painting or photography. And as Abby showed, you can even slap it on sculpture. So,
Yep. Yeah, bones. Yeah.
which I'm still very impressed.
Yeah, that might be my favorite
I love
series
all of
from
it.
the
I
book.
love all
Yeah.
of it. It's just, damn. Yeah, I mean, that's not easy to get it on that surface for sure. I mean, it was already bad enough getting on canvas, so I was very grateful. But yeah, hopefully the book. Well, it should be here in November, so your show
Yep.
will still be up anyway during that time, because I don't expect to really hang. I got Claire and Becca's things. In fact, I can show you some of Becca's secret. Look at these cute ones. They're fur like that. They're not big.
Yeah,
Yeah, so you get to see like we have a
cool.
inventory of work, but they're not big. Sometimes small is really hard to do, you know?
Yeah, I know, I agree.
And honestly, I like small works. They're more intimate. Uh, and I think some painters still have this idea that you want to do big, but I think it's this idea they just want to be more heroic. And that's one thing I think about photography that could be, is I know there are people that do big photographs like Crutzen and stuff, but there's a lot to be said about like a small, Van Dyke print.
Yeah.
Uh, and honestly, it's really a lot harder because scale has its own set of values and meanings. And I love seeing your work quite a bit, and it'll be great to see your work. I mean, I assume you're going to inkjet print this, or are you doing like?
Yeah, and I do them on a Hahnemühle satin paper.
Oh, nice.
So the colors are really rich, and it just has a kind of a very, very subtle kind of luster to it. So
Cool. Yeah, if you also want to include hanging,
well, yeah, I was going to ask you. So I'll send. There'll be loose prints. So how do you typically prefer to?
actually, to
display?
be honest, I would like for the ones that are going to be on display,
Yep.
some sort of like material between the print, because if
Okay.
we use like either command strips to hold them up,
Sure.
then I don't want to damage the print directly.
Okay, that sounds good.
Especially, it'd be good. And the edition size is what's it, like 10 or something?
Yeah. Yeah.
And then you have two artist proofs usually for each one.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yep.
but yeah, this will be better because actually framing it just won't look the same, and it's a lot cheaper than doing like dye sublimation on aluminum, which
Yeah.
that would change. I by the way, there's a huge obsession with dye sublimation, like here in Utah. Like one person started, and all the photography MFA started doing it. It's crazy. But I was like, holy, it's expensive.
Yeah, it is.
And it doesn't always work effectively every time either. Actually, be honest, there's a place in Chicago called Document that I really
Oh yeah,
like.
I'm familiar with them. Yeah.
They actually do photo printing. I actually am thinking for a few pieces about their inkjet prints mounted on dye bond, and they supposedly are like top period. Like they do a lot of museums and galleries, like especially Chicago, obviously.
Right.
But I heard they were really awesome, so I might test with some of them because that's another. But that also gets really heavy because dye bond, I gather, is pretty. It's not super dense, but
Yeah, I have a few really large pieces on dye
yeah.
bond. They can get pretty heavy, but I like it as a substrate.
But how do you hang them over where you're?
Cleats on the back.
Oh, and it does pretty good. Like,
Yeah, yeah, I've had a good experience with it. Yeah.
oh, nice. Yeah, actually, in Notre Dame, is there an MFA program there? Or
Yeah,
no?
very, very small. So there's programs for photo, paintings, sculpture,
Mhm.
ceramics, visual communication design, and industrial design. And each discipline only has three graduate students. So we only accept one grad student per discipline every year.
That's not very many. I assume it's fully funded or something.
It is. Yep.
Yeah, and that's why it's very competitive because everyone's looking for that.
Yeah.
But yeah, well, I'd be very. It's interesting, especially photography. In that, especially area. We got some interesting court here too, and obviously there'll be a lot of crossover. But what's really cool is we're going to get a great visiting artist next year, Clarissa Tossin, who's a Brazilian American artist.
Oh, okay.
And so we're very excited. it's also going to be very competitive to get into that seminar because we got a lot of grad students, but also we're getting the spillover from the deferrals. So
Okay, yeah.
so like yeah, we have a huge cohort. I think we have like 12, which is a lot
Yeah,
for this year, or maybe. Anyway, it's just yeah, it's
that is
just
a lot. Yeah.
it's quite a bit, but a lot of people deferred, and last year was interesting. So
Yeah.
but yeah, that's pretty much it. We don't have
Okay,
to get too
great.
complicated with that. Yeah, just send us the JPEG info, and then I guess the artist statement, you can send us any updated
Yep.
revised version.
Yeah. Yep. I definitely
Because
will.
I know you had one earlier, but obviously things might have been refined or changed now.
Yep. Exactly. Yeah. It's changed just a little bit, so I'll
Yeah,
send you an
yeah, we
updated one.
definitely would love the updated one. Um, I think I'm going to be the one writing the press release because Bryce needs a break. He has a bunch he has to do. So I will do
Okay.
the press release.
Great.
I'll talk with Bryce about the hanging. Obviously, I'll be cleaning up because I got to remove all this stuff for these paintings are going to the art fair. So I got to ship those
Cool.
next week. So much work. But I got a lot of exercise and I cannot complain. And then obviously with classes and that. But yeah, cool. Is there anything else or
No, I think I'm all set. Yeah, this sounds great. I
cool? Yeah,
appreciate it.
I think we don't really I don't think need to worry about me anymore because all you do is you can just send us the images,
Perfect.
the info, the dimensions. You might want to mention the various potential edition sizes
Sure.
that can exist.
Yep.
By the way, before I go, do the edition sizes when they get bigger, do you change the media? Like you offer like a dye bond version if you want a bigger version that could be customized, or is that something like you just strictly want to stick to the inkjet for this? This is
For
on
the
request, by the way.
yeah, the way yeah, right. So the way I've been doing things has been mostly just by request.
I see.
Yeah, there's a set edition size, but depending on how you might want that
Yeah.
displayed, then
But I
make it
mean,
work.
but definitely you want to stick to inkjet. Like if someone requested like dye sublimation on aluminum, you would say, that doesn't fit with that, or
Right. Yeah. So yeah, I'd be sticking to inkjet. Yeah.
that's what I meant. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Once you switch the printing method to something completely different, then that changes
Yeah, exactly.
context in the presentation. So
Right.
inkjet surprisingly has become very powerful. Like Crutzen uses it
Right.
quite marvelously. I mean, obviously he's doing something very different, but I was stunned how much that technology has changed since the 90s.
Yeah, right. I
Gosh.
mean, yeah, I'm really pleased with the results I've been getting for this
Definitely.
work on that paper. So
Yeah, hopefully you get a chance to come visit out here in Salt Lake.
yeah, that'd be great.
Especially,
I hope so too.
Jacqueline and Zach are out here, and then I'll be here for 2 more years. So then I'll be taking a short hiatus from here, which is not bad, but it'd be hard because my mom's here. But
Okay.
it is what it is.
Yeah.
But yeah, send those whenever you get a chance.
Okay.
I just my fall break will be the week after next, so that if you can send it before that, that'll be great. Then we can spend time painting, and then I got to sit and write the press release during break.
Okay.
So I'll sit and show you a copy because it'll be just the web page, and then I'll build that
Okay.
viewing distance, and then yeah, I'll get that all prepared, and we'll be ready to have it up before we leave for New York because we leave the November 7th. So
Okay. Sounds good.
yeah, and then thanks again. And then by the way, once you get the page, feel free to share it to publicize on
Yes, definitely.
because I don't know anybody like over there, but I think they'll be excited. Like tell obviously Notre Dame and all that because
Yeah.
I suspect they have a news page too.
Yeah, I'll definitely I'll circulate it as well.
Yeah, I mean obviously I'm sending it to a bunch of folks, and I already have a pretty long list of press folks.
Cool.
But and then yeah, we'll also have meetings. Hopefully we'll figure out if we can get to LA and then figure out the theme, and then I'll obviously do more Zoom calls after we get back. So
Cool.
we'll figure that out. And thanks, Evan. Appreciate
Yeah,
it.
thanks so much. I appreciate all your work on this. I'll talk to
Oh
you
yeah, we got a lot more, but we're very excited.
soon. Good, I am too.
Yeah, and then obviously, hopefully those things come from Istanbul sometime soon.
Yeah, they're on the way, so just take a little bit of time.
Yeah, no rush, but it'll be nice to have those here. So I'll keep a copy here during the time, and then I'll keep the other one
Cool.
at my house.
I'll keep you updated.
Yeah, thanks again.
Thank you. I'll talk to you soon.
Okay, take care. See
Bye.
ya.
You too. Bye.
Bye.